I haven't moved. That's a lie. I moved 4 steps. But that's not the point. The point of this video is it's time. Story. Story time. You see this? There are so many things we haven't read. So where do we want to start? Art and science, beliefs in daily life, court life, economy, government. I think court life. We have singing girls, animals at court, Subadiah bint Jafar, perfumes, Majils. Yeah, I think we'll do. I think we'll do court life. If it's even interesting. Entertainment took many forms at the Abbasid court, from elaborate falcon hunters expeditions to buffoons. Yeah, buffoons being catapulted into pools. But one type of event epitomized the period: the intellectual salon, or majlis, used to describe both the social gathering and the location where it took place. The typical majlis featured intellectual debates, musical performances, poetry recitation, and wine drinking. Salons were held in various venues, from caliphal gardens to elite estates. Caliphs sometimes presided over them, but ministers and courtiers were also keen to show their sophistication by hosting their own events. A majlis was indeed an opportunity for refined entertainment for members of the elite, as well as a chance for the guest performers to draw attention for the elite of these elites. Through magistratal lessons on astronomy, lively debates between Muslims and non-Muslims on religious tenets, or free-flowing discussion full of witty repertoires and crude sexual jokes, newcomers could expect to make themselves known. Instant fame, fabulous wealth were on the line, in the form of a sponsorship for one's work, or even a permanent position as a caliphal scholar. Definitely not what I was expecting. Okay, so there's a lot more in perfume than I was expecting. For both sexes, so both guys and girls used perfume. Food was perfumed as it was thought to prevent decay. That's interesting. Okay. So they were able to make perfume from dried fruits and flowers, invented by an alchemist. Others had existed for centuries. Some rubbing oil-soaked cloth. Interesting. I don't know. I didn't feel like reading all of that junk about perfume. What a picture, though. That is so cool. Just like how smooth that is. You got the little stairs right there. This little square pond thing. Zubaydah bint Jafar, daughter of Jafar, was one of the most famous of the Abbasid princesses. Her charitable and pious foundations made her a well-loved figure in her time, a figure whose memory lives on as a recurring character in 1001 Nights. Zubaydah grew up in the Abbasid court of her grandfather Caliph al-Mansur, 754 to 775. Legend tells that he chose her name Little Butterball to describe how she was the best part of the family, just like butter is the best product of milk. After marrying her cousin, that's unfortunate, Caliph Harun al-Rashid, 86 to 809, She became a powerful political operator and generous patron in her own right. Her most famous endeavor was the improvement of the pilgrimage route leading from Iraq to Mecca, later called the Darb al-Zubaydiyah. I still don't. Zubada? Zubayda? Zubayda, or Zubada's Trail. This was an important charitable project towards which she directed extensive resources. She built herself a large and lavishly furnished palace in Baghdad, in which she hosted her own intellectual debates. Sorry, that was a big yawn. Poetry recitations and theological discussions. After the death of her husband, her cousin, her son Al-Amin, 809 to 813, succeeded him as caliph. That's a very short run as caliph. And his half-brother Al-Mamun, 13 to 833, much larger stint, with the latter gaining the upper hand and besieging Baghdad from August 1812 to September 8. Okay, so yeah, his half-brother was like, yeah, I've seen what you can do these past 4 years. Not a fan. Just gonna take it. Zubaydah supported her son throughout the siege, moving away from her palace to remain with him in the Round City during the final stage of the fighting. In the end, Al-Amin was captured and executed. She was quickly exiled from Baghdad, but came back to the city after a few years upon her death in 831. She was buried in what is described as an unremarkable funerary monument. It became a frequently visited spot for pilgrims about the start of Hajj and wishing to thank the most famous of Abbasid's queens for her charitable works. Oh, that's right. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, we got her thing in the graveyard that's just right outside Baghdad. Animals at courts. Okay. What kind of animals? Whoa, 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 whoa. Enthralled ambassadors were received in the capital by silk-clad elephants, while shiny thoroughbred horses were ridden by the caliph in his public appearances. Zubaydah, wife of Caliph Harun Rashid, her cousin, even had a pet monkey, which also dressed as a general, but no animal featured as heavily in the court as the hunting falcons of the caliphal falconry grounds. Okay. Falcons have been linked to gods and kings and the Persian culture, which influenced the Abbasid court. Through their graceful flight, deadly efficiency, they were associated with various heavenly beings protecting goods and resisting evil. Seeing them on the eve of battle or using their feathers on weapons was thought to bring supernatural protection. Training them was therefore a way of harnessing divine help. Yeah, falcons are known for hunting. That is for sure. A lot of hunting. Al-Bazar, Master Falconer. An interesting name. Falcons even featured in poems and training guides. One of the most famous guides, Katib al-Mutawakkil was written for Caliph Al. Oh my God! Why Mutawakkil? Is there a Mutawakkil and a Mutawakkili? Who was an avid hunter? A distinct class of women in Abbasid society were the Kian, often brought to the caliphal court from distant reaches of the empire and beyond. These women were highly educated and trained entertainers whose proximity to the caliphs could lead to powerful positions. As a special type of enslaved woman, that's not good. The Kayan tended to be much more expensive and to have a higher social status than regular concubines, who did not have training as poets and entertainers. Oh, so that's probably like the girl that was like, "Can you help me with my poem?" And I just pretended not to know what the hell a poem was. And her, 32 stanzas? What the hell? Most Kian were brought as girls or teenagers into rich households or special singing schools. Many would have served in other elite households before joining that of the caliphs. They would have been tutored extensively in dancing, music composition, and performance, poetry, calligraphy by renowned masters as well as by former Chians. These years in training made them some of the leading poets and performers of their time, and significant proportion of medieval Arabic female poets whose work survives today were Chian. Amongst them, the most famous was Arib al Mem. I'm not even going to entertain. 797 to 890, whose skills made her rich, influential, and eventually free through a career spanning the courts of 5 caliphs. Yeah, we know. She made it very clear that she'd survived 5 and she will survive the 6th one. Although apparently she did not survive the 6th one, if this is to be uh, taken true. I guess next is economy. I mean, okay, yeah, there's so many in economy. Wow. Oh, that tax is even going to be interesting. It's got 4 paragraphs. I mean, they talked about taxing so much in this game. Wow, the tax depended on the religious status of the taxpayer, with Muslims paying less than their, what does that say? Their demi neighbors. 4 types of taxes were made. Bulk of Abbasid. Oh wow. One was levied only upon Muslims. The zakat was a voluntary almsgiving prescribed by the Quran as a necessity for any Muslim who could afford it. Around 730, it became compulsory tax of 2% of someone's total wealth over a certain minimal threshold. 2 taxes were levied exclusively upon non-Muslims. The jizya was paid by every free, say an adult non-Muslim male residing in the empire. At the beginning of the 9th century, its rate was 48 dirhams, about 3 grams of silver for the rich, 24 for the moderately wealthy, and 12 for the poor, craftspeople, laborers. Okay, thanks. It could be paid in kind, including any merchandise, but not in pigs, wine, or dead animals. Non-Muslims also paid the Kharj, a tax on agriculture land. Its rate is unknown, but it must have been higher than the zakat, as not having to pay Kharj or the Kharaj was considered an important incentive for conversion. Oh, so it was like, hey, join the Muslims and you won't have to pay this as much. So they were using tax to convert people, essentially. There was ushur, a tithe on imported goods paid by any merchant, male or female, Muslim or non-Muslim. Its rate could vary in the value on which it was calculated. Value of the day or fixed value of produce depended on the time and needs of the government. Its payment was the object of frequent complaint by the empire's inhabitants, and many inmates were sent to prison. All right, that was the thing. Slavery. Don't y'all love slavery? Of course, enslaved people were most often casualties of war. I think most people lived under the danger of enslavement. Like, oh, by rival states. Never mind, I thought that was going somewhere else. Prisoner of war paid of tribute levied on a submitted neighbor state. Indebted people, children sold by their parents hoping for a better life for them, or victims of piracy. Oh, kidnapping. In the medieval global economy, the sale of people into slavery was normalized and seen as property exchange. Once legally deemed enslaved, individuals could not escape this status until manumission? I've never heard of that. Although it does make sense that it was a key feature in economy of medieval societies. Okay, theoretically, Quranic law forbade forbade the enslavement of freeborn Muslims. However, in practice, this distinction was murky. The key to being legally enslaved lay in a perception of outsider status, which could be defined by religious practice, cultural customs, or belonging to a rival political power. Thus, in Abbasid Empire, enslaved people were brought from the lands of Rum, Byzantine Empire, and Christian West, India, China, Central Asia, Africa, and Europe. Interesting. Market Inspector? I don't even know if I want to read Market Inspector. In the bazaar, many dangers awaited, rigged weight scales, prices inflated by merchant cartel. Well, yeah, because taxes were stupid. And counterfeit goods, luckily one could count on the market inspector to keep it real. Appointed by the caliph himself. The most important responsibility was to ensure the use of sound weights, and measurings in the market to check that goods were well made and fairly priced. Other responsibilities could include ensuring trade routes were clear of traffic, that water supplies were not polluted. Falling foul of the inspector or assistants could be punished in a variety of ways, including fines and confiscations of goods. Makes sense. Wait, what? It was also a pious one. Right. The Arabic root from which the market inspector is derived has a connotation around calculating and accounting. It was also a pious one, as the word itself came from the religious concept of hispa. I don't know these words. The Muslim obligation to command the good and forbid wrong. The market inspector was therefore an important figure to any Muslim city, and only the most knowledgeable and incorruptible were supposed to hold this office. Yeah, I'm not holding my breath on that one. In Baghdad's bazaars, one could find almost all the products of the known world. Chroniclers wonder items such as Russian foxskins, Indian sandalwood, or Byzantine goldwork. But most trade involved rather less prestigious precious commodities. Food staples such as grain, rice, and dates, alongside delicacies such as almonds or sugar, made up the bulk of the loads and shipments. The trade routes also supplied Baghdad with an extensive selection of manufactured goods, from exotic Chinese porcelain to more common Egyptian glass. The style of some of them, such as the Chinese-inspired tri-colored splash decoration in this plate, I wonder if this is the plate, were then copied throughout the empire. Nestled in the midst of these wares were some truly expensive products which wealthy allies from Scandinavia to China craved. Amani, ambergris, or African ivory. I have no idea what Amani ambergris is. Most merchants did not specialize in any one type of item, but rather tried to acquire at a low cost whatever commodity they thought they could sell for a profit elsewhere. They then put together their haul in bales and baskets and ceramic containers, then loaded them onto the beasts of burden or ships, and ventured to the nearest regional market. With the important exception of the Sogdian traders who ran and managed the various routes of the Silk Roads, merchants rarely went further than a few days away from their home. Besides, some extremely important trade hubs such as Baghdad, Samarkand, oh my god, she said it in the Thieves, Michigan, Samarkand, dude, oh my god, is that what Zanarkand is supposed to be a play off of? Samarkand? You know, for Final Fantasy X, Zanarkand, the place where Titus, however you want to say it, is from. Is that what that's a play off of? Is Zanarkand just a play off of Samarkand? Or Bukhara? The presence of travelers from faraway lands would therefore have been a rare sight, but their goods could be sold and resold all across Eurasia. You know, the whole entire world at that point in time, because nobody knew about the Americas. Pretty sure. Yeah, nobody knew about the Americas. Not yet. Ceramics and lusterwares. What the hell is a lusterware? I'm assuming it's this one over here. That looks very Japanese, Chinese. Assuming Chinese. That's probably ceramics. Very plain. Elaborate luxuries, Iraqi potters experimented with new techniques, colors, and styles in their creations. Their most important innovation was luster painting, which created a glittering effect so popular that it went on to be exported and copied everywhere from Portugal to Thailand. One of the main sources of inspiration for Abbasid artists were Chinese wares, especially white and blue porcelain. Well, that's white and gold over there, not really blue. The hardness, translucency, and whiteness were at the time revolutionary in the region, and they enjoyed immense prestige among the wealthy. Initially, Iraqi potters attempted to meet this demand for Chinese imports by direct imitation, coating their usual brown earthen in a white tin and lead-based substance before adding decorative colorized glaze. However, Abbasid potters soon began attempting modifications to produce their own style and adding motifs inspired by the local vegetation, such as palm trees and meadow plants. Okay. So lusterware is just a type of ceramic. It's like the coffee decal with the foam, the coffee foam art. It's basically what lusterware is for ceramics. Luster painting. This involved preparing a special overglaze by blending silver and copper oxides carrying such ochre, and then mixing this fine powder with vinegar and gum. This mix was painted onto an already glazed pot and fired in a special reduced oxygen kiln. If done right, this complicated and costly technique created an incredible metallic sheen. The result was almost alchemical, the simple earth appearing to have been transformed into silver or gold. Uh-huh. In the 9th century, hundreds of thousands of people called Baghdad home. They worshipped many different gods, spoke many different languages, and came from many different places. What attracted them was the reputation of Baghdad as a global, commercial, intellectual, political, and financial hub. The city was linked to various regions and other cities around the world through a network of maritime and land routes known as the Silk Road. Chinese merchants would reach Baghdad port through the Indian Ocean and the Tigris River and meet Byzantine monks, Andalusi intellectuals, and Scandinavian adventurers coming from the Mediterranean Sea through the Euphrates River, I think is how you actually pronounce it. What attracted them was the splendor and fame of the Abbasid capital and its court, fueled by the resources of the vast empire brought to the city by the centralized caliphal administration. The court could buy any exotic products brought to Baghdad and patronized the production of incredibly delicate crafts that the rich all over would covet. Like other pre-modern empires, the Abbasids recognized and employed talents from groups irrespective of religious and ethnic background, just taxed differently. They made sure to award positions to whoever proved the most competent, no matter his or her origins, mixing Persian, Muslim astronomers with Syriac Christian translators and Jewish physicians. All this made 9th century Baghdad the great multicultural center of its time. It's not where I thought that was going. The Persian bazaar, or the Arabic souk, was a public market consisting of multiple covered and uncovered stalls. It was the beating heart of any Abbasid city. There are one found both staples of everyday life and exotic delicacies. There's bazaars in Assassin's Creed 1. I don't know if they're called bazaars. But I know they look a lot like the bazaar in this game, the Great Bazaar, just on a smaller scale. And the exotic delicacies, along with local merchants and travelers from faraway lands, Baghdad's Great Bazaar served as a permanent public space where men and women would gather, socialize, and purchase daily food, basic materials, and other useful objects. In its galleries, they would find hardworking craftspeople like jewelers, shoemakers, but also goods brought from every corner of the empire by caravans. Market inspectors were also common. Yeah, we read about those. Skimmed through it. There to ensure product quality, to use of accurate weight scales, and full payment of all collectible fees and customs. Taxes. In general, markets were organized by product, each area dedicated to specific commodities. The most precious were sold in a specific part of the bazaar. The the quesaria. In Baghdad, the most important of these was the Shahar Souk, the four markets, which had areas dedicated to the sale of horses, fine fabrics, and books, in addition to the ones of the sales of the people in slavery. Yikes. The colorful stalls of the vendors selling fabrics made it one of the most glamorous areas of the market, described as a marvel by many travelers for the Baghdis, for the Baghdadis. How do you say that? Because it's Baghdad, but Baghdadis? I don't. Nah, that just sounds weird. Wealthy enough to acquire them, Indian, Muslim, Chinese silk, embroidered cotton from the Samarkand or Cordoba were readily available. Baghdadi exports. From northern Europe to East Asia, Abbasid craftsmen would covet some even copied by emperors and monks alike. I just don't care about this one. Their abundances testified to the importance of commercial and cross-cultural exchanges at the time. Coins made preeminently in these finds were struck with regularity. Wait, what? Merchants' confidence in them was such that they were used well beyond the empire's borders, especially in northern Europe, where few organized power centers produced their own coins. One Anglo-Saxon king, Afa of Mercia, 57 to 96, went even further than using them. He created golden coins that simply copied dinars struck by Caliphal Al-Mansur, complete with an Arabic inscription attesting that there is no God but God alone, which is what Ali was saying. One has been found in Rome and was probably offered by Afa to the Pope. Quite an ironic twist. Glasswork was another popular export. Famine Temple in northern China, and in royal burial sites from the late Silla period in Korea. One tiny black glass seal inscribed with Arabic script was even inlaid in the middle of a cross found in the Ballycotton of Ireland. It might have been added there to take advantage of the magical protection some Christians accorded to Arabic writing at the time. That's weird. I think government, maybe. Holy shit, there's a lot in government I did not read. I also didn't read that, so I don't know why that's there. Yeah, I know I want to do that one last, right? So maybe we'll do this one up to the 1,000 Nights then. I can't imagine this is very good healthcare. But who knows? Persian physicians brought to Baghdad to heal Caliph's ailments were given funds to open and operate 6 general hospitals or bimardis, bimartisans, places of the sick. These large structures were open to all and doubled as medical schools. The medicine practice in them was founded on the twin pillars of traditional expertise and empirical observation, with the latter becoming more and more prominent over time. Many works of ancient Greek, Roman, and Persian physicians, such as Hippocrates, you know, that guy we met in Odyssey, and Galen were translated into Arabic as early as the 8th century. They proved a theoretical framework known as humoral medicine, in which illness represented an imbalance in the 4 humors: blood, phlegm, and yellow and black biles. Chemical systems that were thought to regulate human behavior. Practitioners therefore needed to adjust this balance through bloodletting, to use the laxatives or changes in diet or environmental. These results were holistic approach to medical treatment. But Baghdad's physicians were not blind followers to tradition. Most treatments were tried and tested, and including writing medical formulae on medicine bowls, and their efficacy. That's such a weird word. Efficacy. Efficacy? Efficacy? I don't know. It's a weird word I haven't heard pronounced all that frequently, so it's like my brain doesn't know how to pronounce it because it doesn't remember how to pronounce it. But my brain's saying efficacy. It's like probably the most right way to say it. It was then rationalized by humoral theory. One of the most famous hospital directors of Baghdad, Abu Bakr al-Razi, 854 to 935. Damn, that's a long time, especially for then. It's like that dude was in his 80s, right? 81. Let's do this. 64, 74, 84, 94, 04, 14, 24, 34. Yeah, he would have been 81. Damn. Placed great emphasis on observation and experimentation, arguing that questioning traditional views was a basis of medicine. The innovative state of mind led him to distinguish between smallpox and measles for the first time. That's interesting. Ooh, House of Wisdom. Construction. Constructed on the orders of Caliph al-Mansur, 754 to 775. The House of Wisdom served as the Abbasid royal library, where ancient knowledge was preserved and translated into Arabic. As the workplace of most of the empire's prominent minds, it was an essential institution in 9th century Baghdad. The idea of combining an academy of learning with a library was not an Abbasid innovation. The Beit al-Hikmah was actually modeled on similar pre-existing institutions such as the Great Library of Alexandria in Egypt, which is in origins, or the Gundashapur Academy of Iran. This may have been a part of al-Mansur's strategy to portray his dynasty as a legitimate successor of the 7th century Sasanian Persian kings, whose memory was still held dear by the Iranian elites of the Abbasid Empire. In any case, House of Wisdom became home to at least 8,000 books in Arabic, whose names have been transmitted to us via the Kitab al-Fihrist, catalog of books compiled by Ibn al-Nadim, 1987 to 88, a year stint. They covered the vast variety of subjects from astrology to zoology. It seems that the institution suffered from the caliph's sojourns away from the capital after 836, and mentions of it cease after the reign of that's that guy again, Mutawakkil, from 847 to 861, but it served as a powerful example of caliphal patronage of science and soon maintaining reading rooms and working space for scholars became expected of any ruler in the Muslim world. Kalila and Demna? Oh. Well, yeah, it makes sense. The sons were raised in the harem with all the women and urchins. Ugh. Yeah, tutors, jobs, so-called mirrors of prince, literary genre. Okay. Where they were given some parables, and the most famous example is Kalila and Demna. The collection of fables tells a story of a king, Deb- Debshlim, Deb- Debshlim, who seeks the counsel of the wise. Bide, bid, bidpai, on matters of statesmanship and court politics, the old man responds with interwoven stories featuring animals, in particular the two jackals, Kalila and Demna, who attempt to gain admission into the Lion King's inner circle through the telling of clever animal trails. Kalila wa Demna's creation followed the same path as many other texts at the time. The text first appeared in 3rd century BCE Indian text called the Pen. Oh my God, Panchatantra. It was translated from a Middle Persian version into Arabic around 750. New elements were added at each step. The translator Ibn al-Muqaffa was a prolific writer and one of the most notable intellectuals in the Abbasid court, producing both translations and original works. His corpus not only introduced Indian and Persian works to a popular audience, but also preserved them for future generations. Kalila wa Dimna has since inspired many other collections of stories, from Machiavelli's The Prince to the Fables de La Fontaine, and is still widely read today. Okay, why is it Kalila wa Demna in the text, but the title is Kalila and Demna? Paper making. What? So it helped bloom the Abbasid was the diffusion of paper making. Oh no. Before paper, humans wrote on clay tablets? Silk. Silk? People wrote on silk? Okay, turtle shells? Rocks I kind of understand, but turtle shells? Stretched animal skins? Papyrus I know of. It's like, yeah, parchment. It's pretty common. Wait, no, are they saying stretched animal skins is parchment? Wait, parchment is just stretched animal skin? I don't think I ever put that together. Weird. Okay. Paper which can be mass produced is an even and sturdy surface. Yeah, that's right. Tradition attributes the invention of paper to a Chinese court official of the 1st century, Kai Lun. Though some forms of paper making existed in China for centuries before his time, its usage became widespread first in government and then in everyday life. In the 8th century, paper making spread from East Asia to the Abbasid Empire. At times, Chinese engineers captured by caliphal soldiers have been considered the initiators of this movement, but Chinese and Middle Eastern paper-making techniques were quite different, the former using most tree fibers and the latter rags. It is therefore more probable that Silk Road travelers brought the idea with them, adapted it to the environment of Baghdad. From there, paper-making reached Europe in the 11th century. Okay, so paper-making began as a concept in China. Then centuries later, many centuries later, because that's at the first century, right? Yeah, court official of the first century. Is that 100 to 200? I'm like confused. Or is that 0 to, it might be 0 to 100 actually. 100 to 200 is probably the second century. Sorry, my arm kept hitting the microphone. And then literally 7 centuries later with the Silk Road, it was brought over to the Baghdad area and surrounding. It was expanded upon. And then 3 centuries later, or within the next 3 centuries, it was then brought over to the rest of Europe. Wow, China held on to this for 7 centuries? It's kind of rude. It's kind of rude. Replacement of costly papyrus and parchment had a momentous effect on Abbasid's intellectual life. It made book production easier, faster, and cheaper because papyrus and parchment weren't cheap or quick to make. Book copyists could be found in markets and publics as well as in private libraries. The ability to exchange ideas by sending copies of books added to the flowering of intellectual thought across Eurasia, North Africa, and Europe. This gave birth to important discoveries in mathematical, astrology, medical, and technical fields 800 years before the so-called scientific revolution. Well, yeah, as the kids would now say, they walked so the scientific revolution could run. You know? Okay, what is Al Jahiz? Abu Uthman al-Jahiz, the Bug-eyed, was a prolific 9th century writer considered to be one of the finest authors composing in Arabic of all time. Ah, so he's the greatest of all time Arabic writer. Born into the poor family of the Black Cameler, his witty writing style attracted the attention and patronage of Baghdad's high society, which he proceeded to delight and satirize in more than 120 books. Holy shit. Al-Jahiz's specialty was composing works of adab. This literary corpus sought to represent through eclectic examples the mix of good manners and high culture an ambitious government official, court hanger-on, or scribe was expected to possess in order to shine in elite circles. For examples, elements of histories and poetry, famous rhetorical retort, jokes, anecdotes, and so forth. As such, Al-Jahiz's book touched upon many different subjects, making still relevant observations. In his Katib al-Hayawan, Book of Animals, for instance, he describes the more than 350 species of animals known at the time and remarked on how environmental factors create new characteristics in organisms that are passed to the offspring of surviving animals. Besides selling fish during his childhood, his only known professional activity was to write and appear in intellectual saloons, majilis. Hence, he is one of the first professional writers in history. According to legend, even his death was linked to his love of literature. While rummaging through his vast collection of books, he is said to have been crushed by oh my god. Crushed by a bookshelf? Wow. Now that's poetic. Hats off to you, Abu. I like to think Abu from Aladdin's named after you. Alright, well, we'll save that one. I don't know. There's kind of one I want to read in here, and it's the one that's somehow taken off. I don't know. A lot of these I just don't think I want to read. Beliefs in daily life. Yeah, we'll just... go through the government one, I guess. Oh, in modern Arabic, shurta translates to police. But in the Abbasid period, the shurta did not resemble anything like its current equivalent. Damn! Night Watch patrolling the cities? Okay, similar to this one. They walked with lanterns like this. Nice. They became executors? Okay. So they were just a tiny bit more than policemen. To enforce capital punishment. A man whose authority paralleled that of the market inspector. Or judge? Damn. They had a lot of power. I think, yeah, powers of the Caliph. Oh boy. Khalifa, which means deputy and successor. In the context of leadership of the Islamic community, it means it meant the legal successor of the Prophet Muhammad. Oh wow, shit. Damn. Caliphs enjoyed vast political and military powers. Yeah, they were basically the freaking governors, bro. That is, yeah, I mean, that right there, in the context of leadership of Islamic community, it meant legal successor of the Prophet Muhammad. That's a big deal for Arabic, dude. Oh, was theoretically sacrosanct, sacrosanct, the democratic principle in Islam that upheld each individual's right to practice her or his faith meant that caliphal decisions could be challenged on the grounds that they did not obey God's law. And many were. Well, yeah, I mean, why not? Feeling wrong or aggrieved? Come see your Qadi, religious judge. His job was to use the Shari, existing jurisprudence, that's a weird word, to ensure the peace among Muslims. As such, he could pass judgment to on any subject, from debt to inheritance disputes, from thievery to adultery. Okay, yeah, covers all grounds, I guess. Oh, whew, depending on the crime, punishments could be discretionary or predetermined. Slandering a neighbor could lead to 80 lashes, while injuring his head would cost you 5 camels. Hmm. Judges were also responsible for confirming on the local level that the caliphal decisions corresponded with the Shari. They could therefore refute caliphal law on the grounds that it ran contrary to religious law. All right, I mean, you did say it happened a lot. One such method was a Mazalum Court, a tribunal pack with judges nominated by the caliphs. Yep. Uh, Postal system? Yeah, post. I mean, man, why does the postal system have 4 paragraphs? Wait, the head of the master of letters, his job is to report the important affairs to the caliph, to carry out his orders and supervise the work of the empire administrators. As such, he was respected by his colleagues as a man who could sway their whole destiny with a single word. Holy shit. Okay. The Abbasids and their rivals. Oh yeah, the Umayyads and whatnot. In time, the Abbasids lost effective control of the rest of their empire and governors to local elites, starting with Egypt in 868. By 945, the Abbasid caliphs still claimed to be the leaders of the entire Muslim community, but their real power encompassed little more than their Baghdad's palace. Their Baghdadi palace. Oh, that's just so weird to say, dude. Hmm. Yeah. Oh. New capital. They founded Cairo? Oh, okay. Interesting. I would read more, but there's only like 10 minutes left, and I still have so many to read. Alright, it's time for a speed run. 12 Horsemen, Abu Abbas. I mean, happens. Servant soldiers? I just don't care. I just don't care about servant soldiers, man. It is what it is. Oh, a difficult succession. Immediately, but sometimes deciding. Oh, difficulty picking a caliph. Oh my god, that's so fucking long. Oh yeah, because what if there's more than one potential heir? Civil War. What, a coin issued? Okay, no, I thought that was about to say coin toss. But what was that last sentence though? Who never became caliph? That sucks. Caucasian slave soldiers? Okay. Hmm. I don't really care. On the western bank of the Tigris, about 35 kilometers south of Baghdad, rises a small mound known as Tel Umar, today beaten by winds and separated from the tumultuous course of the river by swamps. This hill once dominated one of the largest cities of antiquity, Seleucia on the Tigris. Seleucia was founded at the end of 4th century BCE by Seleucus the first, one of Alexander the Great's successors, is positioned at the start of the main road leading from Iraq into Iran at the confluence of the Tigris and the canal linking it to the Euphrates, enabled the city to control movement of caravans and armies during the 5 centuries of its history. This control let it flourish into a commercial hub and royal residence known throughout the ancient world for its Stoic philosophers and Olympic athletes. In time, the Seleucids' power waned in 129 BCE. Seleucia was conquered by the Parthians, Ars- Arsacids, a rival dynasty. The city development nonetheless continued uninterrupted until multiple attacks by Roman armies and a catastrophic change in the Tigris riverbed led to Seleucia decline and disappearance around 200. In time, other imperial city centers, Ctesiphon, Ctesiphon, and then Baghdad took advantage of the position that had made it important for so long and became world hubs themselves. Yeah, because they didn't put it on the frickin' river or right next to it. They put it away. They put it far enough away from the river that wouldn't be an issue. By the way, they're talking about the little mound I'm on right now. In case you didn't know. What do I have left? I have 7 minutes. Oh no, you're the one I need up. Okay. Islamic law prohibited alcohol because it altered the mind and caused wrongful behavior. I mean, you're not wrong, but that didn't stop that one girl. Uh, but Vikings on there, they love that shit. Seem to have been non-Muslim members. Yeah. Even bottles sporting representations of priests seem to indicate that the law was not followed by everybody. I mean, it's alcohol. Yeah, of course, people are gonna find ways to have it. Oh, or about union of two families as much as the union of two individuals. That makes sense for the time period. Women could not legally give themselves away in marriage and needed the approval of a male relative. That's fucked up. That is fucked up. Divorce was a normalized feature of the Abbasid society. King Henry VIII approves. Mm. Less fortunate children of 6 to 9 years of age would attend a place of writing. Oh, elite members. Yeah, they had tutors and whatnot. Yeah, I get you. I could not memorize and recite the 6,348 verses of the Quran. Yeah, fuck that. That is insane. I would not. Oh, so Demi just means non-Muslim, right? It means obligation. Oh, so they just you're non-Muslim, so your obligation for taxes. For what? Right, you're going to way more than just a fucking name, dude. Oh, what an idiot. Caliph Mansour attempted to remove Demis from his administration. He was soon compelled to return them to position due to their expertise. Yeah, duh. Um, Rituals inspired Prophet Muhammad's life. Yep. Resources as per everything. Islamic ideology was linked to perception of afterlife, believed to be awaiting a day of judgment. Ooh, damn. I don't think it really matters what your belief of the afterlife is, no matter where you think if they're going is better or not. It's always hard when they do leave. Okay, I've got 2.5 minutes to read this. Drawing on a rich tradition of Indian and Persian literature, the Arabic collection of folk tales 1001 Nights first appeared in 9th century Baghdad. Despite its name, it initially included about 200 stories, which used the setting of the time. The great cities of Baghdad and Damascus, the Caliph Harun al-Rashid, or the life of the bazaar as a backdrop. At the center of the compilation is the famous frame story of Shah Shahrazad, a brilliant woman who volunteers to marry the king. I'm not even saying it again. After his first wife cheated on him and broke his heart, the king reacted by marrying a new woman every night and having her executed in the morning. What the fuck? So no one could be unfaithful to him again. Oh, that is so fucked, dude. To save her life and the other woman each night, she tells the king a portion of the story, always ending with a cliffhanger, so the king will have to spare her life another night. These stories take many forms, from child-friendly animal tales to highly erotic poems. Some last only a few paragraphs, other dozens of pages. They cover of many topics and touch on many themes, among them the justice and unjust treatment Blank has afflicted on his wives. The theme of the women acting to save the lives by telling stories was a popular one. Pictured here are scenes from the Sindbadama, in which the women of the harem tell stories to save a young prince's life. Pretty cool. The 1001 Nights was described with contempt by the 10th century bookseller Ibn al-Nadim, who considered its themes unfit for a cultivated audience, but his opinions were obviously not shared, as the compilation's popularity throughout Abbasid society helped to survive and spread to the entire empire and beyond. Storytellers and scribes from various cultures have added, subtracted, and altered individual stories ever since. Some of the most famous tales, Aladdin or Alibaba were even added as late to the 18th century. The long cross-cultural evolution explain universal appeal of the 1000. I'm pretty sure I have a Barnes and Noble special edition of this book. or something similar of that in this vein. Either way, I only have 1 minute, and that's pretty much all of the story time. So that was fun. Ta ta for now.